sometimes we all go through a little heartache and pain, but just remember, there is purpose in your pain. My testimony, the Lord saved me in 1998 and ended up in a couple of domestic violence shelters, was a single mother of 5 kids, and just out there in the streets doing everything I thought I was big and bad enough to do, you know, promiscuous lifestyle, the drugging and the alcohol, and even in between doing all of that, I started going to church. So I know the Lord was drawing me at some point. I remember it was a Sunday, and that Sunday morning, that Saturday evening and afternoon, I had partied all night. You know, just my kids were at home by themselves, and I was out just having a good time, at least what felt like a good time anyway. And I remember the next morning, it was on a Sunday, and I got up, and I had told God, you know, I'm tired. You know, this is it. If I'm gonna go to church, but if you don't do nothing for me today, it's, you know, it's over. I'm not asking for nothing else. I'm done with you. Didn't have a relationship with him anyway, but as far as I knew him, I knew I could pray, and I believe that he heard my prayers. But as far as me, like him healing me or healing this pain inside of me, that I couldn't even pinpoint. I didn't even know, it was so deep. I couldn't even pinpoint where it was coming from. But I know I needed him to fix it. And I remember saying to him that if you didn't do anything for me today, it was over. I had already made up my mind to, you know, give my kids up, send them to Chicago, to my parents, and just go out there, just go for broke until I just killed myself doing drugs or whatever it took. Because, you know, at that point, I was dead anyway. So, spiritually dead. So, physically, you know, it was just a matter of time. I had made up my mind that I would speed up the process. But I tell you, I went to church that Sunday, and, you know, everybody say that God, you know, he'll meet you at the altar. You know, I believe that Sunday I was so desperate that out of my desperation that I touched the hem of his garment. And in turn, he touched my heart and my life. And that day, I was never the same. After that day, I had no desire to smoke. I had no desire to run around with men. You know, just living a promiscuous life. He had taken all that away from me. It was so unbelievable, I couldn't even believe it myself, right? So I go and I try to get high again. I mean, I was smoking so many marijuanas and all this kind of stuff, trying to get high. I could not get high. That's how awesome the touch of the Lord he had done in my mind, in my heart, and just even in my desire.